I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion from Council Member Henry.
Second to the motion?
We have a second from Council Member Sayer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Community comment? Nope. Okay. All right. No presentations and reports, no public hearings. Brings us to the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Councilmember Mock
Second.
and a second by Councilmember Henry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business, field scheduling and use policy. Oh, I'm sorry, we're at new business. Field scheduling and use policy. Mr. Merrick.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The Council reviewed this item at your March 4th work session. So before I get into the field usage fees and maintenance practices, et cetera, I'll just kind of give an overview of the proposed policy. The city's had a long-standing practice of reserving, maintaining, and facilitating the use of athletic fields within our park system, but primarily based on the new fields at Ironwood. The city wanted to adopt a more formal schedule and priority basis for not just the Ironwood fields, but the existing fields as well. So that desire to establish a clear process and shared expectations for field use, coupled with that new heavy demand for the new lit fields at Ironwood Park, was that impetus to create this policy. The kind of the major pieces of it: one, it sets expectations for field conditions and closures, creates a process to make field reservations, establishes a field priority system for field use, 4, defines maintenance responsibilities of the city, and 5, sets expectations for behavior for the reserving organization as participants. Now, at the March 4th work session, the council did ask for an area fee survey, and maintenance notes. Tomato, right?
Right.
So the city contacted the cities of Chaska, Cologne, Jordan, Victoria, Waconia, and then also referred to Eastern Carver County Schools. The cities of Chaska, Cologne, Jordan, do not have a fee system. You can see the notes related to what the city does for striping. Victoria does charge. They have a field prep fee. They don't charge for their grass fields for associations or for fields with lights for associations. You can see some different tiers for residents and non-residents. Waconia has a similar process, or $15 an hour for a grass field, $20 for a field with lights. And then in District 112, or Eastern Carver County Schools, has a more, what I call a robust process for how they charge and schedule their fields. The final thing I'll mention before I open it up to the council for questions is I'll just point to the priority piece. So that's Exhibit A for field priority, how we're going to look at scheduling. And so for Community Park, Lions Park, and Bluff Park, it essentially follows the same protocol that the city's been informally following with CCYBSA, the Black Sox, and CC United, basically having priority of the fields that they have been using. The one piece is on Field 2 in Community Park, otherwise known as the Swanson Field. We're giving over reservations to the Black Sox, so folks that are interested in reserving Swanson Field would communicate directly with the Black Sox. And then for Ironwood Park, fields 1 and 2, the lit fields, essentially splitting that up evenly based on basically the 3 main organizations we expect, with CC United having priority on Field 1 from April through August.
Soccer?
CC United Soccer, correct.
Okay.
C3 Lacrosse from April through the middle of August on Field 2. And then in the middle of August, Field 2 would switch over to the Football Association. And then in September, Field 1 would go from the Soccer Association to the football. So essentially, football gets 4.5 months of use, of priority use. Soccer gets 5 months, and C3 Lacrosse gets 4.5 months. So And then we do have a multi-purpose Field 3, which won't be ready in 2019, but that's more of a practice field. And so, thinking this doesn't mean that these associations for any of the fields get exclusive use. It just means that they have first crack at the scheduling, and Vicki and her team have prepared a reservation form to work through that system with folks. But I think one of the main pieces the council wanted to discuss from our work session was the issue related to fees. And I did have a email sent to me from Council Member McKnight that I said I would share with the council, and that a copy of it has been placed in front of the council tonight. I would like to express my opinion on the subject of field fees via email in lieu of being able to express my opinions at the March 18th City Council meeting. I recommend not charging any fees for reserving a field or for lighted field use at this time. I think it's important for the city to establish the field scheduling and use policy as reviewed in our last City Council meeting to ensure that expectations and responsibilities are understood between the city and field users. My reason for not recommending fees at this time is based upon the fee benchmarking done by staff. Several neighboring cities do not charge fees. 2, the desire not to add to the city's administrative load in collecting fees. And 3, current lack of information on costs to field lights. If at some point in the future the city determines that field maintenance costs, including lighting costs, are increasing or we have issues with users following the use policy, then I would be open to establishing fees to cover those costs, those additional costs. Thank you, Joy McKnight, City Council. So I'm happy to answer any questions related to the policy, priorities, fees, etc.
I have a question. So it seems, and I understand why this is done, so it seems a little wonky to give, it seems wonky to me, to give the Black Sox control of the scheduling of the field. Obviously, I have some past history with this, and the Black Sox do such a great job, and I know where it's coming from because I understand the issues that have arisen in the past of user groups outside of the Black Sox using it, and then maybe not leaving it in the condition that it should have been. Do we foresee any issues at all with having an outside group scheduling the field? I mean, they obviously have priority. I trust the Black Sox. But there's just, the staff feels fine with that. They don't feel there's going to be any issues with an outside group scheduling it.
So it depends on what you mean by issues. So from my perspective and the feedback that we've got from the team, there haven't been any issues. The city's frankly had to try to, what I'd call mediate between the Black Sox and other groups. I think the Black Sox will like it. I think there's going to be some other groups that may be frustrated because the Black Sox might not want the field to be used at certain times prior to a game or prior to their regional tournament. But it's taken a considerable amount of staff time to try to mediate differences between field expectations, and it's
Yes, I remember.
Pardon?
I said, yes, I remember.
Right. So it's and because of the level of kind of maintenance that the Black Sox perform, I support it, and Brian and I have discussed it, as well as Vicky's team. It's there are probably any number of ways you could do it. It is, I would say, a different way to go about it, but it's for sure going to put the city selfishly in a position where we're going to avoid a user coming in on Tuesday before their regional tournament and wrecking their pitching mound, which they've spent a considerable amount of money investing in preparing, and then trying to figure out who did it and when they did it and who's going to pay for it. It seems to be more streamlined. I don't know if it may or may not work, but we think this is the best idea that we have right now. So.
Okay. Well, I think it's worth giving it a try. I mean, everything can always be changed at a later time if it doesn't work. For scheduling on that, how will they find out how to contact the Black Sox if they want to have field use time?
So in the policy, we have the website, but we'll make sure that Vicki we'll ask the Black Sox to provide us a contact name and number, and then we'll work it through that system.
Okay.
So we'll have them contact them directly.
And then that will all be posted on the website so
Correct.
someone can find it? Okay.
Correct.
That's all I have then. Thank you.
Brian, we are resting Field 3?
In Ironwood?
Yes.
No, with the extension of Monroe Drive, they're cutting into that field, and so that is the reason why it won't be ready this year.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have a question, but I just want to share my thoughts on the fee. I support it. I hadn't thought about that it would be an extra a workload for the staff on the administrative side of collecting those fees, but I feel like with our long-term plans that we will get more automated when it comes to handling those things. But I would like to see the city collect fees, especially for the lighted fields.
Does Cologne and Jordan, when it says no fee, does that mean, I know their baseball field is lit. Do they have other lit fields in Cologne? Or is it just that one? Brenda's shaking her head, it's just that one. Okay.
And I think, too, our community is a little unique in that our home teams draw athletes, players, families from surrounding communities. If it wasn't for that, I might feel different. So.
I have two questions. First, with the Black Sox scheduling the field, are they the ones that have to make sure then that the insurance requirements are met for the groups?
Yes, we'll have to explain that to them.
Okay. And then kind of getting into the fee portion, I agree with Councilmember Sayer. I think that for the users that it would make sense to charge. And can you explain to me how the process works? Am I picking up the phone, or is it an automated system already where I would make a reservation?
So it's not automated. It'll be manual, if you will. It'll be a reservation system. Typically for an association that has a number of reservations, they'll often just come in and meet with Vicky or somebody on her team and sit in front of a computer and go through it. They're trying to improve that. They have a system called Easy Facility that tracks availability, so they'll be able to do that, but we're not set up for someone just to punch in on the computer,
Okay.
but when they want a certain field. As it relates to fees, the council can consider adopting the scheduling and use policy as is without getting into the fees. What we need from the council is then direction, if you wanted to add fees, to have us prepare an amendment to our fee ordinance. I prefer not the council not embed the fees within the policy, that we review that on an annual basis should you decide to move forward with that.
Okay. And then I assume it would probably be starting 2020 for these fees, because there are probably field reservations already for
So
2019.
the city has not taken reservations
Okay.
right now, so if you, it would be your prerogative on when you'd want them to start. They could start in June of this year, or they could start in January of 2020.
Okay. Okay.
I have some thoughts on that. I would like to wait till 2020, only because I know a lot of these organizations are already collected their registration fees, they've budgeted for the year. This would allow them to budget for it next year.
Lori, thank you. That's a good point. I hadn't even thought of that. But they have already taken in most of their registrations, and we would be putting a fee on them that they weren't aware was coming.
Right.
And I also, in looking at this, I would like a little bit of benchmarking to see what we think the fees and what we think it might cost after having lights and things like that. I think it would be good to know that before charging a number.
I'll wait till 2020 to start fees. I don't have a problem with that. I'd like some information as far as how much our electric bill is gonna be, so we can justify what we charge. That's the biggest thing I
Yeah.
see.
Brent or Brian, are those lights metered separately? Will we know exactly how much that's costing?
Right now, I think that's the only thing that's on that. Right now, we got that and an irrigation. I think we do have a irrigation pump that's there. So we do have a couple things, but we can kind of, hopefully we can kind of guess or guesstimate.
And yeah, we irrigated in 2018, so we'd be able to
Yep.
roughly ballpark.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm okay with waiting. So with that, taking a look at the fee schedule, or the field use and scheduling policy.
Ready for a motion?
If you guys are, I can certainly.
Motion to adopt the field scheduling and use policy.
We have a motion by Councilmember Mock
I'll second that.
and a second by Councilmember Henry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. All right, moving on to communications. Lori?
Yes, I can give an update on the Parks Commission. We had a meeting earlier this month with 6 commissioners in attendance, and a mix of people who have been volunteering for years and a few new faces to their group. And they did also nominate their chair, which continues to be Michael Rafferty. That's what I have for updates.
Okay. I'm going to have you go. I'm still writing notes.
Sounds good. On April 9th, we have a HPC meeting scheduled that we're going to have an open house as well. Is that correct? We're good to go on that. I did get an email from Mark today that kind of announced it and announced it to the HPC group. I'm not sure that that email was super clear that the HPC should be there. So I think that we should send them an RSVP or some kind of note to make sure they realize they're invited. I just don't know that it was quite clear in that email. So if anyone has interest in the historic downtown preservation standards, come on April 9th, 6. Wait, what time? Do you remember?
I want to say it's earlier than 6. I'm going to say it starts at 5.
Okay, well, more info to come. Please just be here on April 9th.
It's from 5 until 7.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Henry?
My turn?
It is.
We have a planning commission meeting Thursday night. Just want to reiterate to everybody to come to the school April 11th at 6:30 for the open house on the corridor study. There'll be a lot of great information there, so you can kind of understand what we've been going through for the last couple of years. It's finally coming to fruition. Brian, great job on the flood update. I'm sure we'll be getting updates throughout the next week and a half or so. Other than that, got nothing.
All right. In the last 2 weeks since we met, we had a Eastern Carver County Community Leaders Meeting where the school district and the superintendent kind of teed up their referendum questions and issues that they're going to more than likely be placing on the November ballot. There was the Regional Council of Mayors meeting, which proves to be really informative, and then I spoke in front of the Carver County Library Board meeting, which was here in Carver last week. So that is it for me.
I have one more question for you, Brent. Is there a 212 meeting that's happening on Wednesday morning?
There's not a meeting. Senator Jensen is offering up legislation that's in a Senate committee meeting on Wednesday morning. So if anyone's interested in heading down there for that, it's at 10:30 on Wednesday morning I think it's in the Senate office building.
Okay, I don't think I'm available that morning. I don't know on short notice if anybody else is.
The mayor and I had discussed heading down there late this afternoon. So
Are you guys going to be able to go?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Henry?
I just lost it.
It'll come back. Should we keep going?
Yes, go.
Brent?
a couple items. So as is probably not a surprise to anybody, the city hall's run into some issues related to weather conditions from snow, rain, polar vortex, etc. And so we've asked Kraus Anderson to prepare a updated schedule. We had some things planned, and then when a contractor misses their window, it's kind of like dominoes. Everything gets pushed back. So we were originally hoping for a late May, early June, kind of be ready to move in. That's been pushed back to, I'll say, August 1st. We're hoping it gets done earlier than that. It doesn't impact anything related to our operations. We'll have some additional expense in having Kraus Anderson, superintendent, come out for those additional days. We have Carver Place rented through the end of July as far as an additional community space. I just wanted to share that with the council and get any feedback that you might have. Yes, pardon me?
We're gonna schedule a tour?
Yes, we are working on scheduling a tour for the city council, a hard hat tour as well.
So let's just say that we were, for some reason, to fall past the August 1st date. If we have the Carver Place through July, what do we plan to do? Can we extend it, or is there another person coming in maybe to rent it after us?
There's another business moving in there in August. So what we do is provide this space.
Okay.
Then a couple other items. We're working on a draft report from the city council's goal setting and strategic plan. So we'll be bringing that to you at your second meeting in April for the council to review and consider. And then after we get that feedback from the council, then we bring it to your next meeting for adoption. For your April 1st meeting, we're going to have your work session at the Fire Station Public Works Building. The fire department is going to be presenting on the engine that they're proposing for later this year, as well as the Public Works Department for equipment that would be included in the equipment certificate that the council would consider later this year. So we'll have a presentation on that. And then I did put a handout. It just came in the mail today to promote the League of Cities annual conference, which is in Duluth for June 26th, 27th, and 28th. So if you're interested in registering for that, we can do that for you and get the logistics set up for hotel accommodations if you're interested in attending that event. That's all I have.
Good. Okay. Brian? Larry? Back row?
If you're able to join us at the Planning Commission meeting on Thursday, I'm doing a Planning Commission 101, which I think would be educational and helpful. Meeting starts at 6:30.
Glenn, are you making treats for that one? All right. That.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Got a motion from Councilmember Mock and a second from Councilmember Henry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.